First, we have the sad news that we just found out about as we started the show. The famous actor Kilmer has died at the age of 65, after a long fight with pneumonia. A celebrity has died in Hollywood. Val Kilmer, a brave actor and a true original, died on April 1, 2025, at the age of 65. He did more than just act. His parts in Top Gun, The Doors, Tombstone and Batman Forever will live on forever. He had a fire in his soul and loved telling stories. He died after years of fighting throat cancer and the problems that came after. He left behind a legacy that is just as bold and complicated as the roles he played. It's not just a look back. We're honoring the man who made us think, feel and believe. The story of Val Kilmer's life, from his earliest thoughts to his last days. Val Kilmer was born in Los Angeles, California, on December 31, 1959. Los Angeles is the center of American film. Eugene and Gladys Kilmer raised him and his two boys in the sunny San Fernando Valley of California. He was the middle child of their 3 children. There were palm trees and lots of possibilities. Dreams were being chased and caught in the hot studio lights. There was beauty and depth all around Val from the start. Even though his childhood was full of the color and energy of a creative home, he went through a lot of mental upheaval at a young age. Val's parents split up when he was only 9 years old. When parents split up, it's never easy on a child. For Val, it was the moment that broke his world apart. Even though he and his brothers moved in with their dad after the breakup, the bond between dad and son started to weaken. Over time, Val would say that their relationship was far away and even tense, and this gap would get bigger as the years went by. He once said this about his childhood: "I was quiet, thoughtful and always lost in some kind of daydream." Being apart from her hurt him, but he didn't show it on the outside. It changed how he saw the world, as well as being careful and interested. That broken bone at home might have been the first thing that led him to start telling stories, which were a way for him to make sense of life by putting himself in other people's shoes. While the split was a turning point, the tragedy that would happen 8 years later was much worse. Val's world fell apart in 1977. He lost his younger brother Wesley, who was only 15 when he drowned. Wesley had epilepsy and had a seizure while he was swimming. The outcome was quick and terrible. Val was only 17 years old at the time. He was just a boy trying to find his way in a broken world when all of a sudden he had to deal with a loss so great that most people would not be able to put it into words. Wesley wasn't just a brother or sister, he shared my artistic spirit. They had written short stories, made short films, and told each other dark jokes. He lost a part of himself when he lost him. It was the part that laughed the most and dreamed the most. Years later, Val would think about Wesley's death in a very clear way. He told me that before I was ready. The sadness didn't go away over time. It showed up in his work, in the roles he chose to play, and in how intensely he played each one. The reason wasn't just to please him. The goal was to express, heal, and stay alive. Even though Val was in a lot of pain, she didn't break down. Moving slowly and carefully, he moved forward. In the same year, he made a big choice, as if the hurt of losing someone and the need to live were fueling him. He was going to try to act seriously, not as a hobby or a quick thought but as a calling. Around that time, he tried out for the Juilliard School in New York City. Not only did he get in, he was the youngest student ever to be accepted into their top acting team. He, a boy from the valley who was sad in his heart. The beginning of something huge. There she was, walking the halls of one of the world's best acting schools. It was a start that came from heartbreak, but it was also proof that something strong could come from the worst pain. Bo's life wasn't like a storybook. It was messy, real, and sometimes too sad to bear. But those early events helped him grow into the artist he would become. That he felt loss made him understand. The fact that his family was broken up gave him meaning. The death of his brother made him feel rushed. The idea that time is limited, and that we need to make the most of the time we have to create, connect and feel something real. If you look back, it's easy to see how the boy who grew up after his parents split and mourned his brother alone turned into the man who could disappear into roles so perfectly. The performance wasn't good. It was true. Val Kilmer did more than just play parts. He lived them, he walked with them, he cut them up. A boy in the valley was the one who first tried to make sense of a world that didn't always make sense to him. Val Kilmer didn't run away after an unthinkable loss. Even though he was still upset about the sudden death of his brother Wesley, Val found a new way to deal with his feelings through art. The stage. He almost fell into the theater department by accident while he was in high school in Los Angeles, but something clicked when he got there. The flow of Shakespeare gave the chaos in his heart order. As honest as Tennessee Williams, and as raw as Chekhov, he finally saw a way to express all the things he was feeling and couldn't say. He did it better than most. He was made to do it. Val did something amazing when she was 17. She was still hurting from a tragedy, but she was full of drive. He tried out for the drama division at the Juilliard School in New York City. Juilliard wasn't just a famous school, it was also where the best actors in the world learned how to be great. Val didn't just get in either. He joined their all-star group at the youngest age ever. The country boy stepped onto a bigger stage all at once. It was this stage that would make him into the artist he was meant to be. Juilliard was more than just a school for Val, it was a safe place for her. He could let his sadness rest in the strict daily scene work and the endless hours he spent breaking down character, voice and movement. It made his zeal more disciplined. He was a home for his roaming spirit. He put all of his time and energy into classical training, working late into the night when most people had already gone home. Many of his peers went on to become stars themselves, and they remembered how intense and dedicated he was, and never gave up on his quest for the truth on stage. He learned more than just how to act. He was getting back to living. Even in these early years, Val wasn't happy just doing what she was told. It was his idea to write and star in a play called How It All Began, which he did with his friends. It showed that he was talented in more ways than one. He told stories in the truest sense of the word. Someone who didn't just read lines but shaped them, brought them to life, and added his own experiences to them. He would follow that artistic spark all through his career. When Val thought back on his time at Juilliard years later, he said that it saved him, not just at work but also in your personal life. Did bigger than I am. That's what Juilliard gave me, the structure and the drive. It helped me stay on task, keep going, and believe in the work. That idea turned out to be a map. He believed the process of becoming, both on and off stage, even when he wasn't sure what to do. Once his time at Juilliard was over, the next part of his life began with a bang. Val's first show on Broadway was Slab Boys in 1983. It was a rough coming-of-age story set in Scotland in the 1950s. He did better than Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn when he was on stage with them. He stole scenes. Many critics noticed how well he timed things, how charismatic he was, and how he made every scene a quiet storm of feeling. This wasn't just another interesting theater kid, that much was clear. This person was different. They had weight. Going from Juilliard to Broadway was a big step for a lot of artists. Val saw it as proof that his pain, his battle, and his never-ending desire to understand what it's like to be human all had a place, why it mattered. When he was sad and lost, the kid now stood under the lights and was seen and heard by people who didn't know his story, but could feel it in his performance. He was brave on stage, even though he may have still been dealing with loss. Val's name was on a sign for the first time at Slab Boys, but it wouldn't be the last. Hollywood was already calling, and it was clear that things were moving quickly. Val Kilmer was ready to take the next step into the center of movies. He had learned from Juilliard, and had Broadway under his belt. Iceman, Jim Morrison and Batman were not his real names. He was just a young man in New York standing on a stage and telling stories, because it was the only thing that made the world feel real again. It took Val Kilmer a while to get to Hollywood. With a wink and a joke, he kicked the door open. What was his first movie role? It was in Top Secret 1984, a crazy odd comedy, made by the same people who made Airplane. Kilmer played it straight, which made it even funnier. It was a weird mix of Elvis musicals and Cold War spy tales. Val sang every note and danced like a pro, while rock and roll star Nick Rivers got caught up in a crazy spy plan. It was a surprise first move for a stage actress trained at Juilliard. It did work though. People who went saw something special. He had a lot of charm, great timing, and a way with comedy that went beyond slapstick. He wasn't just funny, he was also cool, smart and charismatic. The movie industry paid attention. The next year, he was in Real Genius, which was also an odd comedy, this time as a smart but snarky science genius. Val's character Chris Knight was always cool, usually funny, and always had that laid-back style that would become his trademark. He was great at it. He moved easily between funny and smart, like he was born to play the part. These early movies showed that the actor could do more than just make a joke. He could help you believe in the person behind it. Then 1986 came along. Val Kilmer's life changed forever when he put on the flying suit of Lieutenant Tom "Iceman" Kazansky in Top Gun. He was only 26 years old at the time. Iceman was cocky, exact, and utterly sure of himself. He was the perfect contrast to Tom Cruise's careless outlaw. The way Kilmer looked, frosted blonde hair and a sharp eye, made him stand out without having to say much. His performance was cool, well thought out, and quickly famous. In a movie full of confidence and action, Iceman was the one that people remembered. "You can be my wingman whenever you want," and not just because of that famous line. People all over the world saw the movie, and Kilmer's acting made him famous. He did more than just play a part. He made a character in pop culture. Iceman was cool, calm, and dangerously attractive. Val wore it so well that it felt like a second skin. Kilmer laughed about the feud on screen when he thought about it later. It was half the fun that Iceman didn't like Maverick. His act was unforgettable because of how serious and fun he was while doing it. Val Kilmer went from being a good young actor to a real movie star with Top Gun. The Juilliard boy was there and wasn't going to look back. When Top Gun made Val Kilmer famous, he quickly turned his attention away from the sky and toward fantasy. In Willow, a fantasy tale directed by Ron Howard in 1988, he played the rogue swordsman Mad Mardigan.